Grand Rising, Monday AM. If you want to talk about how to build your dream life, it's actually by dreaming. Listen to this live. If you want to better your life, if you want to better your mind, if you want to have a completely different reality, this is the live you want to listen to. How we doing, all my people? So today we're going to be talking about the mental images that we construct in our mind and why they're so important. Grand Rising peeps, what's up? I want to tell you a story about manifestation before I get into what we're gonna learn today. So Neville Goddard always talks about living in the state of the wish fulfilled. Raise your hand or put Neville in the comments if you have studied Neville, or you've read Neville, or you listen to Neville. Neville Goddard is very powerful in his teachings from the early-ish 1900s about states of mind. Living in the state of the wish fulfilled. Well, what the hell does that mean? It means living in your end desire before you have it. That is one of the most difficult things, because if your reality is literally falling apart, how is it possible that you could live in the state of already having the thing that you don't have and that you want and that you desire and that you long for? That is the whole thing, or the whole trick of manifesting your desire, is walking by faith and not by sight. We all know that quote, walk by faith and not by sight. You're walking with the faith that this miracle is going to be performed. You're praying for someone else's healing, and you just walk with the intention that this is already done. That's the phrase. It's done, and so it is. So living in the state of the wish fulfilled is actually walking by faith and not by sight, because you don't yet have this thing that you are after, but you live as if you do. So I was watching a video about how do I change my reality? How do I make my reality different? You make your reality different by your energy, okay? How do I change my energy? You change your energy by the clothes that you wear, the way that you show up for yourself, doing your hair in the morning, smelling good, looking good. If you're normally a person that just kind of rolls out of bed and you go places and you don't really care what you look like, if you want to change your reality, you have to change your whole energetic perception of yourself, because everything is energy. So if we change the way that we feel, because we change the way that we look, even if you have a different hairstyle, or maybe you wear a different shirt that you would normally wear, something that makes you feel good. You put a little concealer under your eyes. Whatever it is that's going to change your energy, so that when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, you notice something different. You notice that the energy is different. I've heard that before, but today I feel it. Finally made it to the live. Thank you for being here. So you could easily show up to life in the lazy way, in the way that you've always shown up. But if you want something different, you have to do something different. Maybe you never had a skincare routine. Maybe now you're like, I'm going to take care of my skin. It's time for me to take care of my skin. Whatever it is, possibly, when you just shift a small part of your routine, the world reflects around it, and the world starts to mold around it, because the energy is changing. All that we are is energy. When we run out of energy, what are we? We're dead. There's nothing left. So if all that we are is energy here, and we're shifting and changing it constantly because we are, our reality has to shift and change with it. But if you're constantly shifting and changing because you don't know what you want, and you're unsure about this, and 1 minute you're confident and the next minute you're not, your universe has to reflect that. It has to reflect confusion. It has to reflect not giving you the things that you actually really desire, because you're not giving it specific enough instructions. Maybe one day you're all positive about something, and the next day that you're feeling like shit, you look like shit, you're fat today, I'm a loser, I don't have any money, I'm broke. Your reality will reflect that confusion. But if you stay in the state of the wish fulfilled, of maybe I'm in an amazing relationship, or maybe, I'm making X amount of dollars, or whatever it is that you're desiring, and you stay in that every day, regardless of what your outside world looks like, eventually, and we're going to talk about this, your world has to reflect that. So I got a phone call from someone last night that I'm really close to. I talk to her every single day. And she said, I just don't understand. Like, my check went down and I don't get this. You know, I'm trying to manifest X amount of dollars. And, you know, it's just been a really hard week. And, you know, I just don't understand this. And I said, you're not living in the state of the wish fulfilled. Because if you're living in the state of the wish fulfilled, it doesn't matter what your check says this week or next week or even the following week. Where you are right now, before you have your end goal, you are in what is called the bridge of incidence. If you have somebody building your house, are you standing there every day watching them and saying, well, why are you putting that there? Don't you need another nail over there? Shouldn't you put a screw here? I don't think that that's the right fit. You're not sitting there analyzing how someone is building your home. That is called the bridge of incidence. You pay somebody to build your house, and they're like, oh, come back in a couple weeks, see how it's going. Or, oh, you know, come back in 6 months, it'll be built. The how in between is not your business. Tiff, we got to talk. Just saying I'm trying to manifest tells me you're off. Exactly. So when we're saying I'm trying to manifest, it means that you're already not in the state of the wish fulfilled. Manifesting isn't a trying. It is just an embodiment. An embodiment of, I'm in the most amazing, harmonious relationship, or I have 3 beautiful children, or I just built the house of my dreams, or I live in the most dreamy location, or whatever that it is. And that's the hard part about manifesting, is that we think that it's a doing rather than a being. Karen says, a knowing. It's a knowing that I already have everything. It took me 4 years to manifest this space, and I unconsciously did it. When I first moved into this building, I was like, I think it's called the Juliet. And I was like, oh my God, I have to have all this natural light. Like, I want this. It wasn't available at the time, and nor was it in the price range that I wanted to pay at that time. And fast forward to 4 years later, I was literally shoved out of my other apartment, and this one was available. Literally, the leases were up the same day, if not a day before or after. So it's not a doing, it's just a being. And I knew from the old space that I was in that I was ready to leave it. I didn't want to leave it, but my energy outgrew the space. I could not grow anymore in that space. So I was literally pushed into this space without me even having to try to get it. And this space is like $500 cheaper than all the rest of the people with this same setup. So I was like, I will take it, because I would say to myself, like, I'm going to find the perfect place with the perfect price, whatever. And I did without even trying. So it's just like a being, just a knowingness that, like, I need a bigger space. It's not because I thought that I was going to leave there. I had no intention. I was renewing that lease. But the universe had other plans for me, because I knew that I couldn't grow anymore in the space that I was in. There was stuff everywhere because I just had too many things because I outgrew the space. So I was in the knowingness that, you know, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to become the next version of myself. The next version of myself could not exist in that smaller space. It's literally 20 feet from where I am right now. I moved 2 doors down in the same building on the same floor, but this space is just amazing. So going back to the story of the person, I don't know why my check is down. And I said, you're not living in the end. If you know that your end goal is X amount of dollars, it's not your business that this week your check might be down, or maybe it's off next week, or maybe it's up a little bit next week, but why isn't it moving faster? That is not our business of how something unfolds. If we have the faith that it's going to unfold, and you keep shifting and changing your energy to move towards that space, it's going to happen. So once I told her that, she's like, oh, yeah, I needed that. She told me, preach. She's like, preach, girl. And I was like, yes. You know, same here. I just moved to a different, larger apartment on the same horse ranch. Mary, I love it. One day I'm going to get to your horse ranch. Thank you, Cami. So we all need these reminders, or maybe we don't even know these things about these type of teachings of how to build your dream life. How can you build something if you don't know how to build it? Or if you don't know how to get there? How can you go to a certain destination if you don't have the directions? So it's not even the knowing how to get there, it's embodying it. But you have to know how to embody it, right? So I found this really amazing post that I think will make a lot of sense. And it says, there's multiple slides in this, okay? Your mental image is being constructed by millions of mental workers called brain cells. You're not manifesting alone. You're commanding an army of neural workers to build your desire into reality. Here's how to work your mental workforce. So let's just deconstruct that for a second. You're commanding an army of neural workers to build your desire. Hold that thought. Now, most people waste their mental workforce by giving contradictory blueprints, scattered focus, and constantly changing plans. Our brain cells are working 24/7, whether you direct them consciously or not. The only question is, are you giving them a clear construction plan, or are you leaving them to build whatever your random thoughts suggest? So we're going to pause there. Most people think, again, manifesting is a doing rather than a being. So we're trying to give, direction to our mental thoughts, even if we don't know that that's what we're doing. And we're saying our affirmations and we're doing our visualizations. Maybe we're focused for 30 straight minutes about it. And then the rest of the day, you're miserable. The rest of the day, you are saying like, oh, I hate this. Like you're thinking, you're ruminating about what it is that you don't have, or why is this person treating me like this? Or, why am I not married yet? Why don't I have kids? Why my job, I hate my job. But for 30 minutes, you're very positive. You are giving very conflicting instructions to your brain cells. So your brain cells are trying to move forward and they're just like, wait, okay, we're going this way. No, wait, what the fuck am I doing? That's what your brain is saying. Because you're giving explicit instructions for a good 30 minutes, and then the rest of the day, you're breaking down yourself, you're saying what a loser you are, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm so positive, I'm positive Polly. It's not about being positive either, because you can manifest being the biggest piece of shit, and I always say that. It's about understanding how this works. So if most of your day, you're giving contradictory blueprints. Let's say you're building a house. You have blueprints, and you give it to the contractor. The next day you come there with different blueprints. And then an hour later, you're like, no, wait, I'm going to have this blueprint. He's already halfway done building something and then you change it. So he's like, okay, I'm going to change this. And then you come back the next day with the same blueprint and then you're trying to build the same thing again. Then an hour later, you're like, no, wait, I changed my mind. I want it a little bit halfway this way. And then you come back and you're giving the same blueprint. He's going to say, are you out of your fucking mind? Yes, we unintentionally twist our brain balls. Someone pays attention to my phrases. Exactly. Okay? So if you're constantly giving contradictory blueprints or you're changing your blueprints all the time, your mind can never construct the house that you want to build, which is your desire. You can't get the thing that you desire if you're constantly changing your mind from being like excited about it, being positive about it, and then like, why isn't it here? Well, this person didn't text me back, and why is he saying this to me? And I know that she's going to cheat on me. You're driving your brain insane. Clearly, because that's a reflection, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. The material for the construction of your mental image is secured by millions of mental workers called brain cells. You have an entire workforce inside your skull that responds to your mental commands. What mental commands are you giving your brain? Are they clear so that your brain can execute that mental picture every day? Nobody's perfect. Nobody has full control of their mind. Maybe monks do. But the majority of us struggle with these things, and because we're human and because situations happen and your mind goes up and then down and your emotions are all over the place. But when we start to be able to wrangle our thoughts is when we can really manifest our reality or maneuver or mold our reality into what we actually really want. You have an entire workforce inside your skull that responds to your mental commands. What are you mentally commanding your mind? That you're a loser? That you don't get the things that you want? Why is life so hard? I can't believe I still have this shitty job. Those are mental commands. I'm so fat, I can't lose weight. Oh my God, I'm so ugly, this person will never want me. Those are mental commands. When you hold a clear image in your mind, these brain cells organize themselves to do what? To build that image into your neural structure. You're not trying to manifest alone with willpower. You're directing an army of workers that are already waiting for instructions. So if you just visualize an army of men and you are the leader for them, and they're like, okay, what do you want us to do today? And you're like, I want you to go down the street, make a left, then make a right, go straight. So like they start going there and you're like, no, wait, just make a right and then make a left. And they have no idea what to do. Or half the day you say you're going to do exercises so that you feel good about yourself. And then you're just like, no, wait, I don't want you to exercise. I want you to just stay home and lay on the couch and not do anything. These guys are going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Are they crazy? That's what we do to ourselves every single day. So if you're wondering why your reality doesn't look the way that it does, it's because you're not committed to directing your army of brain cells to do exactly what you want. Most people don't even know exactly what they want. They don't know how to get specific. So therefore, if they're not specific, they can't get clear. And if you can't get clear about what you want, then you can't get clear about what's going to show up in your reality because it's not ever going to be fucking clear. Right? Right. Next slide. Your brain cells don't evaluate whether your mental image is realistic or achievable. Your brain doesn't care. There is no limitations to our imagination. Therefore, there is no limitation to our reality. What you might think is impossible is so easy to somebody else to conjure up in their head. Even if you're in the most impossible situation or scenario, or so you think, you're labeling it impossible. You have no idea how that can manifest for you. I've manifested some scenarios that I thought were unbelievable, would never be able to happen, but I persisted in that mental image that I already had it. And then I did. They simply build whatever blueprint you give them. If you give them a vague, inconsistent image, they build a vague, inconsistent neural pattern. These workers are always building something based on whatever thoughts you think most consistently. The question is, are you giving them good blueprints? So let's say that sentence again. These workers are always building something based on whatever thoughts you think most consistently. So you could take your half hour of meditation and doing your affirmations and doing your visualizations, and you might as well take it and flush it down the toilet if the rest of your day, your dominant thinking is, why isn't it here yet? You're coming from a state of lack. I don't understand. Like, why is this taking so long? See, I knew this was not going to work. This is so dumb. I'm wasting all my energy on manifesting things. The manifestation isn't real, and I hate my life. Why am I always sick? I'm always sick every day. My back hurts. If you're doing that the majority of your day, your workers are building something based on whatever thoughts you think most consistently. What are you thinking most consistently? How nothing works out for you? How nobody ever wants you, or how you can't have love, or how nothing, relationships never work out for you? What are you thinking most consistently is what your little brain cell builders are building into your reality for you. Next slide. Imagine trying to direct a construction crew with vague instructions. Build me something nice, maybe a house, I don't know, figure it out. The results would be chaotic. Your brain cells need the same clarity. Your idea and the construction workers' ideas of a nice house differ tremendously. Okay? 1974 Ninja said, I stopped because I couldn't manifest good because I was surrounded by evil. When you're in situations like that, if you want to keep your vibration, I'm not even saying like high vibe, I'm saying to be in a peaceful state and to not allow your emotions to be altered, sometimes, or not sometimes, all the time, you have to walk away. No matter who it is, unfortunately. If you are constantly around someone that alters your energy for the worse and not for the better, you have to reevaluate who you're spending your time around, whether it's family, friends, spouses, whomever. If you're okay with that, stay in the scenario. But if you're a person that just wants peace in your fucking life and you don't want your life to be altered or your emotions to be altered because someone just always negative or always has something to say about what you do and how you do it, get rid of them. I'm reading from a post actually that I found. I'm like, this is such a good explanation for people that is very, very clear. Yes, this is why I no longer speak to my father. Life is incredibly better now. And it doesn't matter who the people are. If they're constantly bringing you down and you know that you just want to have a peaceful life and you're never going to get it with certain entities around you, you can walk away. And yes, you can forgive the person that did this to you, but it doesn't mean that you give them access to you. Unless you have figured out how to not be triggered by this person, how you've figured out how to not be brought down by this person. And that's difficult to do. And it's unfortunate that it happens that way, that you have to cut people off because they don't know how to live in harmony and all you want is harmony for yourself. Okay. So if you don't give a clear blueprint to your construction crew, the results would be chaotic. Your brain cells need the same clarity. When your mental images keep changing, when you visualize one thing today and something else tomorrow, your mental workers can't complete the construction. They cannot build your house that you are paying them to build, paying them, if you come every single day and you change the blueprint. Here, I want it like this. Here, I actually want it like that. The house will never get built. And so if you are giving yourself conflicting instruction every day with, oh my God, life is so great today, and I'm so happy and grateful that I have all this money or whatever it is, and then an hour later you're just like, oh my God, I hate my job sucks. Why am I not getting paid? I can't believe I didn't get this promotion. That person did. You ain't building that house. They start building, then you change the blueprint, so they have to start over. Consistency is how you let your workforce finish the job. If you keep changing what it is that you want, and want. It's not because you want to have a person that cheats on you or doesn't show up for you, or you don't have the farm that you want, or the beach house that you want, or this. It's not because you want that. Your dominant thinking is what creates your reality. So you don't want to not have the money. You don't want to not have the house, the spouse, whatever. It's not that you don't want these things. Your dominant thinking is what creates your reality. If you don't give a clear blueprint every day of what it is that you want, even though you don't have it and you stick with it, you don't have the house. You have the blueprint and you hand it over to somebody and they're building it. It's the same thing in your mind. You don't have that dream life. You don't have that dream car or dream spouse or dream relationship or whatever it is. You don't have it yet. But the blueprint has to stay in your mind that it's like, oh yeah, it's just like the blueprint is printed on paper. You hand it off to the construction person and then they are going to build you that house of your dreams. But if you have this blueprint in your mind of what you want, then every day you're changing, you're literally redrawing the blueprint every day with your bullshit. You're never going to get the house that you want. Next slide. Every time you visualize your desire, your brain cells are actively constructing neural pathways that correspond to that image. Your thoughts are directing actual biological processes in your brain. The more often you return to the same mental image, the more resources your mental workforce dedicates to that construction. So if you're dedicating your mental imagery to bullshit, I can't lose weight, I'm so fat, I always feel like shit, I hate my life, I'm so bored, why doesn't this person like me, people always leave me, nobody ever loves me, I feel I'm not worthy of love, why am I so miserable? Those are all the construction pieces that are being built, helping to build your house. All of your bullshit is building your house every day. Unless you're changing your thoughts to something that is in alignment with the actual house that you want to build. The actual life that you want to build. Joe. This is why repetition matters. You're giving your workers time to complete the build instead of constantly changing the plans. Listen, I'm not sitting here telling you that it's not difficult to stay with the same blueprint of, I'm so excited to get up every day. I love my life. I'm so happy and grateful for X, Y, and Z. I love the space that I live in. Oh my God, I'm so grateful that I have the most healthy foods to eat. Sticking with that blueprint rather than continuing to build your house with your bullshit that you don't want. Next slide. Most people give their mental workforce contradictory instructions. They visualize success in the morning, then spend the afternoon thinking about their failures. Each competing thought is a different blueprint. Your mental workers try to build all of them, which means none of them get completed. None of them get completed. If every single day you feel that you are just manifesting the most amazing man or woman, and then literally 10 or 15 minutes later, you're just like, I'm so lonely, I'm so alone, I'm just so sick of being by myself. Is that the blueprint that we're building from? Because technically, yes, it is. Whatever your dominant thinking is, and I can tell you your dominant thinking is, I'm so alone, I'm alone all the time. That is what you are telling your construction workers to continue to build. But if you continue to visualize multiple times a day, the dream life with your dream person, you could take just 5 minutes of your day and then stay in that energy. What would it be like if you already have it? You wouldn't be worrying about where it is. And listen, this is advice for myself to hear myself say these things, because we all fall off the bandwagon probably daily. The workforce that could be building your desire is scattered across dozens of competing projects. Focus is how you concentrate all workers on one construction. Focus is how you concentrate all workers on one construction. You're not hiring a construction workers that are building your house, and you're like, oh, can you just go build something over there too? And then can you go up that hill and then build another thing over here? And then I want you to go and find some animals and bring them over here. No, your workers are focusing on building your house. But if our workers are constantly being given differing instructions, nothing will ever get done. Next slide. For the next few days, give your mental workforce one clear project. Choose your desire and visualize it daily. Every time you catch yourself thinking about what you don't want, recognize you're giving your workers a competing blueprint. Redirect your focus back to the one project. Think about what your one project is that you are manifesting right now. And every time your thoughts go against what it is that you are telling your construction workers to build, redirect it and say, get back to work over here right now, motherfuckers. Because if you don't, your reality is going to stay the same. It's not going to change. Joe, I'm happy to hear that. The more consistently you hold the same mental image, the more your millions of brain cells can dedicate themselves to constructing that specific neural pattern. One focused project gets completed. 10 scattered projects get abandoned. You guys are funny. So again, one focused project gets completed. 10 scattered projects get abandoned. You know when you drive by like these beautiful places, or I forget where I saw it, but there's like so many places, maybe in China somewhere, there are these gigantic buildings. There's like dozens of them or more, and they're all abandoned. Somewhere in leadership, they were told to abandon ship, or they were told too many conflicting things, or the money didn't go through, and then somebody gave some money, and then someone didn't give enough money, and then we just abandon this because we don't have enough people to fill all these spaces. Think of your mind like that. How many abandoned projects are in your mind right now because you're giving conflicting instruction constantly? Yes, Allison, it's not done yet, but I just got my wall piece and I can't hang it until I wallpaper the walls because I'm doing like that distressed concrete look, you know? So I got to wallpaper these walls first. Well, I'm not doing it because Lord knows what that would look like. Okay. Most people waste their mental workforce by giving contradictory blueprints, scattered focus, and constantly changing plans. Our brain cells are working 24/7, whether you direct them consciously or not. The only question is, are you giving them a clear construction plan, or are you leaving them to build whatever your random thoughts suggest? I love you too. Can you listen and comment at the same time now? Me? What does that mean? So, that post was so insightful. I was just like, this just will really, really make sense to people. So I wanted to give you guys that direction today, because if you're constantly giving your construction workers different directions, your house ain't never getting built. But if you say, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, and every day you stick with that blueprint in your head of, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, that I see myself in the perfect relationship every single day. Every single day without fault. Doesn't matter how long I've been single. Doesn't matter if I think that there's no good men or good women out there. It doesn't matter. If I'm giving myself the same blueprint every single day, it has to manifest into my reality. So, I hope that made sense for everyone. And that, thank you. Can you share that post you're reading from? I should just upload that post like on a permanent post so people can keep it, because it is just so powerful. So that's what we got today. That's the lesson today, is what are we telling our construction workers to build for us? What is it? And you dedicate yourself to that one blueprint. Because once you dedicate yourself to that one blueprint, you're going to see your world shift around you. Okay? I love you all. I hope that you have an amazing day and that this was really, really helpful. And stick with one blueprint. I stuck with this one blueprint and now I'm here. And I didn't say like I wanted to move. My blueprint was, I got to go to the next level. And in order for me to go to the next level, I had to be out of the space that I was in, even though I did not want to leave it. Because Leo's energy was there. And now that I'm here, like I know that his energy is here. He's everywhere. So it was difficult for me to leave there, but it was necessary. And all I did was say, like, I'm going to the next level. Like, I'm going up. I don't know where the fuck I'm going, but I'm going up. And that meant I had to leave that space and come into something that was much bigger, and just that I had the actual physical space to really grow. So we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Like, I wasn't very specific, right? Yes, Al. But I just knew that I had to do something different. And this was the something different. So if you could get even more specific with whatever it is that your goals and desires are, write down the color hair of the person, the color eyes of the person that you want to meet. I mean, down to the specifics. I've seen so many people talk about stories like, yeah, I wrote down my perfect woman or my perfect man, and like, I'm literally with them. Down to the height, down to the eye color, down to the way that they talk, down to their occupation, everything. Be very clear and concise with your blueprint. No matter what it is. If it's a farm, I have a farmhouse that's this color with this many windows, and I have this amount of animals that can fit in it. Whatever it is, you get clear with your blueprint, because you don't hand a blueprint to a construction worker and it looks like a fucking kindergartner drew it. And you're like, here, can you make my house look like this? They're going to say, I don't think I can do that, actually. So if you wouldn't give unclear instructions or blueprints to someone that's building your dream home, you certainly shouldn't be giving unclear instructions that look like a kindergartner wrote it to yourself. That's it. That's all we got for today. Woo, I'll repost this. Watch it 100 times if you need to. That message was super important about the construction. I saw it and I was like, I have to talk about this. Yeah. Love you all. I'll see you this week. And if you have questions about things, just like, let me know. I think eventually I'll start doing like group coaching stuff, because it would be really fun. I just need somebody to just build it for me, and then I'll just show up. So, yeah. Have the best week. Hopefully that was the kick in the ass that you needed. Adios.